You disrespected me in my crib. See ball, get ball.
Over the middle, and it is caught, and then taking the hit.
Championship game.
He is hit. He loses the football. The Eagles have it. The Eagles have it.
And this is Asher again. Sometimes he was great, sometimes he was horrible. And O.J. McDuffie on a big day, 36 yards and a first down.
On. All 5 touchdowns, the result of quarterback turnovers.
To the races, 67 yards. Just keep running in there, don't turn around yet. Touch a yard. Second and goal. Final 2 minutes of the half.
What do you do when the voice inside your head insists you're not enough? Not strong enough, not worthy. Not even when stadiums chant your name, not even when legends tip their hat to your greatness. What do you do when the crowd's roar can't drown out the whisper that says you don't belong? For Brian Dawkins, the answer wasn't found in highlight reels or trophy cases. It wasn't found in Pro Bowls or Hall of Fame nods. It was found in struggle, raw, unfiltered, human struggle. This is the story of a man who became Weapon X, a gladiator of the gridiron, but whose fiercest battles weren't fought between the whistles. They were fought in silence, in shadows, in the unrelenting corners of the mind. Jacksonville, Florida, 1973. The heat clung to everything, and the streets pulsed with the rhythm of survival. Brian Patrick Dawkins was born into this world, raised by a mother whose love was steady and unbreakable. Jean Dawkins worked long hours and longer days to hold her family together. Brian's father was often absent, leaving a young boy to navigate manhood through fragments, coaches, mentors, and the raw ache of missing answers. Even as a child, there was something different about Brian. It wasn't just that he was fast or strong, it was the intensity. He played as if every snap was life or death, as if every play carried the weight of something unseen. Coaches took notice early. He wasn't just another kid running drills. He was an inferno, already burning with purpose even if he couldn't yet name it. But with that fire came shadows. The absence of a steady father figure carved doubt into his psyche. Who am I supposed to be? Where do I belong? These questions weren't just internal musings. They were haunting companions. At Rains High School, Brian began carving answers on the field. He played with a sense of urgency that bordered on desperation. Opponents feared him, not because of brute force alone, but because he played with surgical instinct. He seemed to see plays before they happened. It was chess to him, not checkers. College scouts began circling like hawks. But it was Clemson University that spoke to something deeper. It wasn't just the offer, it was the brotherhood, the chance to be part of something bigger. Brian didn't need another opportunity. He needed a family, and Clemson gave him one. At Clemson, the legend began to take shape. Dawkins didn't just grow physically, though he did, becoming a chiseled force of nature. He evolved mentally. He studied the game like a philosopher. He dissected offenses like a scientist. By the time the ball was snapped, Brian had already made his move. He was meticulous, methodical, and maniacally committed. His pre-game rituals became the stuff of myth. He'd lock into a zone where time slowed, the world faded, and the transformation began. The calm, soft-spoken young man would vanish, and in his place stood something primal, something elemental, a storm in shoulder pads. In 1996, the Philadelphia Eagles selected Dawkins with the 61st overall pick in the second round of the NFL Draft. It wasn't a flashy pick. It didn't make headlines, but it changed the identity of a franchise. Philadelphia is a city that worships grit and bleeds for authenticity. Brian Dawkins didn't just fit that mold, he redefined it. From his rookie season, Dawkins made his presence known. He forced 2 fumbles and recorded 3 interceptions. But that was just the prologue. By his second year, he was a full-time starter and never looked back. Over the next decade, Dawkins established himself as one of the most feared and respected defensive players in the league. In 1999, he had his breakout season: 4 interceptions, 3 sacks, and over 75 tackles. But it was his 2002 campaign that rewrote what was possible for a safety. He posted 95 total tackles, 5 interceptions, 3 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, and 4 forced fumbles. That same year, he recorded one of the most complete single-game performances in NFL history, registering a sack, interception, fumble recovery, and a touchdown. No player had ever done that before. Nicknamed Weapon X, after the comic book character Wolverine, Dawkins was relentless, instinctive, and terrifying. He became the emotional center of a team built on toughness. He could cover receivers like a corner, blitz like a linebacker, and hit like a freight train. But he did it with a controlled fury that always stayed within the lines of the game. Between 1996 and 2008, Dawkins started 182 regular season games for Philadelphia. He recorded 898 tackles, 21 sacks, 34 interceptions, 32 forced fumbles, 16 fumble recoveries, 4 total defensive touchdowns. He also helped lead the Eagles to 5 NFC championship games and a Super Bowl appearance in 2004, where his presence on defense was a key reason they held Tom Brady and the Patriots under 250 total passing yards. Though they fell short in that game, Dawkins' performance during the playoff run, especially in the NFC title game against the Falcons, where he laid a crushing hit on Algie Crumpler, became an enduring image of that era. His leadership was spiritual. His pre-game speeches weren't hype, they were sermons. Teammates described them as transformative experiences. He didn't talk at players. He spoke through them, elevating the energy in the room to something nearly divine. He was selected to 9 Pro Bowls, earned 4 first-team All-Pro honors, and was named to the NFL 2000's All-Decade team. He became one of only a few players in league history with 25-plus sacks, 25-plus interceptions, and 25-plus forced fumbles, a rare statistical trifecta that speaks to his all-around dominance. But while the crowd roared and accolades stacked, Dawkins was battling demons no one could see: depression, anxiety, and a voice that questioned his worth. At times, it drove him to the edge. At his lowest point, he considered ending his life. His relationship with God grounded him, gave him hope, and eventually gave him a mission beyond the game. After 13 seasons, the Eagles made the decision that shocked their fan base. They let Dawkins go. It was one of the most emotionally charged departures in franchise history. But Brian didn't let bitterness define his exit. In 2009, he signed with the Denver Broncos, where he played 3 more seasons. Even in his twilight, Dawkins remained elite, posting 258 tackles, 5 interceptions, and 7 forced fumbles across those final seasons. More importantly, he mentored the younger players and restored leadership to a struggling defense. By the time he retired in 2012, Brian Dawkins had totaled 1,131 tackles, 37 interceptions, 36 forced fumbles tied for most by a DB in NFL history, 26 sacks, 4 total touchdowns. He is widely regarded as one of the greatest safeties to ever play the game, an iron-willed enforcer who never cut corners, never played dirty, and never backed down from any moment. In 2018, he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame on the first ballot. But it wasn't his stats that brought people to tears during his speech. It was his honesty. He spoke about his suicidal thoughts, about feeling empty despite the glory, about how God and his wife Connie helped pull him out of the abyss. His voice cracked, but he never broke, because that's who Brian Dawkins was. Not a man who never fell, but a man who always got back up. He ended that speech with a message for anyone battling their own darkness. Don't you ever let your struggles define you. Those are your stepping stones. That's your testimony. Since retiring, Dawkins has become a powerful advocate for mental health awareness and founded the Brian Dawkins Impact Foundation, dedicated to transforming lives through education, wellness, and community development. He speaks at schools, corporate events, and churches, sharing not just what he accomplished, but what he overcame. His legacy isn't just about football, it's about purpose, about resilience, about owning your scars and turning them into symbols of survival. To every young athlete, Dawkins offers more than a blueprint. He offers belief. That excellence requires vulnerability. That greatness is born not just from fire, but from faith. Weapon X was never just a nickname. It was a calling, a symbol of controlled chaos, yes, but more importantly, of redemption. Brian Dawkins taught us that your fiercest enemy isn't the man across from you. It's the voice inside that says you're not enough. And he didn't just silence that voice. He turned it into a roar.